Welcome back to RABID NOISE on RABID Radio. My guest on the program now is guitarist for one of the world's most loved punk bands who will be returning to our shores in February for the Soundwave Festival tour. It's Erik Ohlsson from Millencolin. What's up, man?
I'm sitting in my car, and it's awesome talking to nice Australian people.
Awesome, man. Well, you've always had, great connection with Australia, and, you've been here countless number of times. Have you ever thought of just packing up and moving down here?
Yeah, I actually have. Why? It's a mystery why I still haven't moved down and, kept the house in Sweden during our summer and then spending the Swedish winter down under. Any sane person would do that.
I think it's a good idea. That way it can be summer all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you probably, over the years, you've probably made a lot of good friends, in other bands and stuff down here, and I guess when you come down, it'd be a lot of catching up with a lot of people. Do you find that in other places of the world too? You've built up a lot of good relationships with people where you're just always catching up with people?
Absolutely, and we have a lot of friends in Australia from way back we are catching up with. And especially Australia, actually, because, coming to California is the same thing, but we haven't been to California for a while, and in Germany, too. Yeah, you're right. we are catching up with a lot of people. And especially, there are so many festivals we're playing. And then, you are catching up with, at least, like, once a summer, you are catching up with NoFX, you are catching up with Pennywise, you are catching up with maybe Bad Religion, and it's really fun because, at least once a summer you're going to party with Fat Mike, for example, either if it's in Australia or if it's in Germany or if it's in the US. That's really cool, actually.
So you just get on the phone, hey, we're going to be in the same area, let's do it up, let's go.
No, never on the phone. I don't even know if I have Mike's number, but every time, you meet up, you're like, whoa, again, And especially with Pennywise, we tour. We tend to tour with them a lot, although we don't. We've done one European tour together, and that was the first European tour we ever did. They took us out in Europe, and ever since we talked about doing. We were doing Warp Tour together and stuff like that, but not like a co-headlining tour or a tour like that. But we've been talking about it for years, but it hasn't happened. But we at least twice a year we meet up at festivals anywhere in the world. It's really fun.
That's awesome, man. Well, do you find though, because you always do big festivals, do you ever get starstruck? Like, have you met someone along the way that you've grown up listening to yourself that's just blown you away when you met them?
Tim Armstrong from Rancid is pretty much only Tim Armstrong from Rancid, and then Matt Hensley. He's playing in Flogging Molly, but he's a hero of mine because of his skateboarding. And those two guys are like the two heroes I had. And Matt Hensley, I know him really well these days. But Tim is a mysterious man. I met him a lot of times. He was in the studio when we were recording Pennybridge Pioneers, for example. But he's a great guy. The mystery is still there, which I really like about him, because Matt Hensley, I like him, but he's a friend of mine these days, and a lot of people I grew up with, as idols, as Fat Mike, for example, but I also consider him a friend these days more than a hero. But Tim he's mysterious, so he's still got that mystery that a hero should have. So yeah, I'm starstruck when I meet him, because although I've met him maybe 10 or 15 times, you still, when you talk to him, you're not sure if he recognizes you.
But it must be awesome, man. Yeah, it must be so cool to be able to meet your heroes and then become friends with them. That's one of the goals kicked, I reckon. So, but you've been doing it for so many years, and I can remember back in high school where all my mates, all the skaters and the surfer dudes were just really into you guys and that whole scene. and it was just starting to, just at that time, was just starting to blow up down here and became massive, like all the skater punk stuff. What was it like in your part of the world when that scene was just starting to really take off?
It was great because, I mean, we started this band because we were skating, and we got influence of the music in skateboard videos. And I mean, at that time, there were just skaters listening to this type of music. I mean, you couldn't hear it on the radio. You could barely buy the records. You had to go to like underground mail orders to buy the albums. So, I mean, it was just, a small underground movement. And I mean, there were tons of punk rock bands in Sweden, but most of them, were singing in Swedish. So we did this Californian thing because, we were skaters. And there was not too many bands that did this. In Sweden, they were like Refused, but they weren't called Refused at that time. And there were No Fun at All and Satanic Surfers and Randy, but they weren't called Randy at that time. I mean, and all this happened in different cities. We didn't know each other back then. Although we had some contact by, sending demo tapes to each other. But, I mean, there was this small scene, and then all of a sudden, Green Day and Offspring became big. And, their stuff started to be played on the radio. And all of a sudden, boom, we were there. Millencolin were there. It was skateboarding and that sort of music, and we were skaters, and we played this type of music. So instantly, we became like the Offspring of Sweden, in a way. So that really made our career take off here, and then made our record company grow, and then made us go out in Europe, and then maybe in a year, we went to Australia for the first time. And that's really, really awesome.
I remember all that, and it was just, because it was just so big. Like, I even noticed, like, local bands, like bands that I was friends with at school, were just grabbing onto that style, and everyone was just loving it and doing it, you know what I mean? Like, dudes picking up guitars and stuff because of bands like you guys. And it was so cool to see, and a lot of those guys that I still know, they still follow you guys right up till now. They're excited to see you at Soundwave, and they saw you at Warped last time you were here, which is awesome. But are you going to be playing some new stuff at Soundwave this time? Yeah,
we are actually, because we've been recording a lot since last year, and at the Soundwave set we will probably play one new song, but then we got two side shows where we don't know yet. But I know our contract says 2 side shows. We still don't know where they will be, but somewhere in Australia. And last time we did Soundwave, the side shows were like full sets, like an hour sets. So then we'll probably play 2 or 3 new songs on those sets. First time we played those new songs live.
So you haven't played them live yet?
No, not at all. We haven't really started to rehearse the songs. We have recorded, but when you record, it's not like you rehearse these days, because we own our own studio. So you put on one guitar, and then you kind of forget that, but you still have it recorded, and then you put on another guitar and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different these days when we are recording on our own. More like a long process instead of the band standing in a rehearsing room, rehearsing for 2 months or 3 months, and then going into the studio and record everything in 2 weeks. Because now we have the drums mic'd up and the guitar amps mic'd up, so we've been recording for a long time. So we're actually starting right now. Next week we'll start to rehearse for our live show. It's also for us. I mean, performing live that's the deal. I mean, that's what we want to do. Recording, it's fun in one way, but still, I mean, our band is about playing live and performing live. So we're really excited about that.
Sounds like we're in for a treat to hear these new ones. So
I hope so.
It's going to be awesome, man. Like, especially, with the Soundwave being 2 days now as well, it's going to be huge. Is there anyone that you're looking forward to seeing when you're not playing?
Looking forward to see Smashing Pumpkins. Never seen them live, but listened a lot to their records growing up. So that's going to be really, really cool to see. And catching up with Lagwagon. I mean, we played our first show with Lagwagon back in '94, so that's gonna be fun too. We toured with them both in the States and stuff. We haven't met those guys since, when was this? Maybe 10 years ago. Last time I met Lagwagon. So that's gonna be fun to catch up with those guys.
Sounds like it's just going to be an awesome tour for you guys. So we're going to go to your legendary track, Penguins Polar Bears. Now, thanks for hanging with us tonight, Erik, and we'll catch you guys at Soundwave in Brisbane.
Sounds awesome, man. Thank you.